June 10th meeting of the Planning Commission to order. First item tonight, before we start with anything, I'd like to just make a comment that just so everybody's well aware, you know, if a commission member has questions or is unsure of something, I feel like it's their responsibility to ask. I will do everything that's within my power to help you. Staff is here. We also have counsel that's here to answer questions. So if you're not sure of something, or if you have questions, please ask. I would rather know that you're voting on something that you're confident in, you have all the information, rather than something you still may have questions about. So with that, there's approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Next item is the adoption of the minutes from May 13th.
I make a motion to approve.
I would like to just add, if we can have one small correction. There was a tax map number listed
Okay.
to be corrected, so can we add that?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve with your changes.
Okay. All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. First item up tonight is subdivision, new road for proposed development, The Point. The applicant is Eric Lake Wiley LLC, tax map numbers 48400000018, 48400000080, and 48400000039. Extension of Homegrown Way, 1,323 feet, Council District 2, Miss Love. Good evening, Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Kirshner. I'm with York County Zoning, presenting the next item. As you said, this is for preliminary plat for a new road / road extension of Homegrown Way. It intersects with Highway 49, Charlotte Highway. Here's the vicinity map showing the general area. Main parcel and a couple other parcels is where the about 2 acres of new right-of-way is proposed. Here's the preliminary plat. You see the layout of the proposed roadway and part of a overall subdivision plan, provide connectivity for that project. The proposed Homegrown Way extension is going to be about 1,300 feet length, 60-foot public right-of-way, again extending from existing Homegrown Way. Here's kind of a little bit of a close-up showing the proposed right-of-way connection over to Charlotte Highway. You have this in your packet. Here shows a close-up of the proposed intersection, Homegrown Way with Charlotte Highway. There's a site distance triangles, also some of the improvements that are going to be made, turning lane, right turning lane in, median improvements are proposed. Also, of course, the TIA Tier 2 was approved for the review. With the findings, the developer has provided willingness capability letters. This is for the roadway. We're going to do civil plans for the rest of commercial developments, proposed with the anchor of Harris Teeter, but obviously we haven't gone through the civil review yet. This is just about the roadway extension for this preliminary plat. Land use density complies. That finding is not applicable again because it's just specifically for the roadway. As I said, the applicant agrees to adequately mitigate impacts to transportation network. As I said, the Tier 2 has been approved. It does have plans for improvements to roadways, both Charlotte Highway and 5 when the civil plans come in. Finding 4, the development provides adequate street connectivity and pedestrian facilities to address public health and safety. The proposed Homegrown Way, a 60-foot public right-of-way, will be located between an existing section of Homegrown Way and Charlotte Highway. It would include sidewalks connected parcel development, connecting the parcel with development and sidewalk facilities. Number 5, the adequate open space. Again, that will be addressed in the civils. And finding 6, all other applicable zoning and subdivision code requirements have been satisfied. Again, focused on the roadway for this. Of course, staff recommends approval.
So, I have a question, Jeff. Just so everyone's clear, so the TIA, it's submitted to the county,
Right.
staff reviews it, it's also reviewed by the DOT.
That's right.
There's probably considerable back and forth before
Right.
all of this is agreed upon. And so everything that's shown here tonight has been reviewed and approved by both staff here at the county
Right,
and
the
the
TIA
DOT.
was approved, and as you said, there was some back and forth about what improvements need to be, not just like we're talking about mitigation, but actual improvements needed, and how, of course, the Homegrown Way has to meet York County standards, but then also has to meet with the TIA, stating that what improvements need to be made for that and designs for that, and of course, like you said, the DOT looks at as well.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, feel free.
So Jeff, at the 49, at the intersection with 49, the T, I guess it's a T intersection, has that ever been considered being lighted? Because I know there's a light down here further down, and I understand the issue with that, but I see that you've got left turns out of this and then left turns in from 49.
Right.
And that concerns me about that movement and that you're gonna have longer queue times through there because it's not lighted. So just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, in the TIA, did they look at that?
They do look at that. They look at the number of trips, and I know the left turning out of Homegrown Way was discussed. Of course, I'm not the reviewer specifically for TIA, looking at the overall plat, just the plat part of it. What I understand it was looked at, and, part of the mitigation, of course, this goes back to the civil plans that we're able to look at for the entire development, because this TIA is based on what's proposed for this development, but obviously there could be changes to it. We're still in that process, so this is looking at the roadway, but also development as well with the TIA, was, doing also not just improvements on Charlotte Highway, but improvements down on Highway 55, where that connection is gonna be. So this is not gonna be the only connection for this, commercial subdivision. So you do have, and go through the TIA, and of course, I read through it as well. If there is peak hours and it's hard to take a left turn, you have another option to go down to Highway 55, there's a light there, and you could take a left and go north on Charlotte Highway. So there's gonna be other options and other improvements made as part of the whole subdivision civil plan, to try to mitigate, some of those issues with traffic, especially when you have peak traffic times. And of course, there's a turning lane in, like a right turn lane in off of Charlotte Highway is gonna be built on here.
Is Highway 5 south or north of here? I'm
South.
south.
It's 55.
55 is.
You're talking about 55?
50, yeah, Highway 55
Yeah.
is right, if you look at that, this is.
Okay,
right-
well, he said Highway 5.
Oh, sorry, yeah. And,
We know what he meant.
yeah, a couple of months ago, we had another roadway, and this is just at 5 points, this is just north of that.
Just to clarify, so when this was submitted, this TIA was submitted, they based it on X amount of retail and maybe there's some other uses or, restaurant or whatever. So if those numbers were to change and the counts were to go up, you guys still have the right to go back and have them amend the TIA and then whatever.
Like I said, on the whole development side, we've had a sketch plan review of it, get a conceptual idea of what we looked at there. Really, the only thing I can say is Harris Teeter is, as an anchor, but we don't have plans for all the buildings. So that process of the civil plan design is gonna fill in a lot of the details, like this is just a roadway, but But if things change, the TIA could be updated because it has to stay within what's approved in the TIA. Plus with all the civil design standards, everything from the access, how it's gonna connect through, the connectivity between different internal parcels, the stacking from the road. These are things that we've looked at in a sketch plan, but it still would need to be designed, plus the road improvements that TIA calls out has to be shown on civil plans.
Okay.
Matt, I had another question. Jeff, did you say that there would be a light at the intersection of,
Not in this intersection, that's not what's,
no, on 50, coming south?
not in
if you-
55 either, no. There's gonna be some improvements, but it's not going out for a light.
I've got an issue, there is a light or there's not a light?
It's Charlotte Highway and 55.
Charlotte Highway
There,
55.
there's an existing light at 49 and 55.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm saying at the two entrances and
No,
exits.
no new lights.
Okay, so
No
if,
new
traffic
lights.
signals.
if you look at 49 north of 5 Points, traffic going northbound shows that they can go left against 2 lanes of traffic. And it also shows that coming out of this proposed roadway, that people can make a left
Yeah.
from there to 49 north. And I think both of those situations are suicidal. I'm not sure what SCDOT was thinking, but you've got further up the mulch yard, the entrance to Tullamore, and you've got Tractor Supply. And every day, that's like Frogger trying to get traffic in and out of those places. I'm not sure what DOT was looking at, but I don't think either of those left-hand turn options are safe. So now, you've got somebody, let's say all the people in the new apartments decide they want to come down to Harris Teeter. They come down 49, get in with no problem. How do they get back out? They have to make a left-hand turn against traffic in either location,
That's right.
right?
Yes, and as Jeff was saying, I believe Matt said it as well, the way it was modeled in that traffic, people's tendency, once they get to an intersection that might be a challenge to make a left-hand turn, would then utilize the other access point at the safer one to coming out 55.
And that's also a
And
left-hand
that was
turn.
how it was modeled.
Okay,
Was the assumption was made that there will be a certain number of people that would, during peak hours only, they would not make that left-hand turn. And
Right.
so it was distributed over to 55, which is probably why we're gonna be getting a dual left-hand turn coming
Mhm.
off of 55 onto 49.
Yeah.
Because of the more folks are gonna come across there and go out that more safer route. But in a non-peak period, they probably won't go that way. But in the peak, they will have the access point to go to the light. They will search out for a light and make a safe access point on 55.
Did the DOT study take into consideration the fact that people would travel down this road through the connection that's proposed into the residential area back there? Because that weaves all the way back around to Catamount and where there's no light again, or you can go all the way up to Paddler's Cove where there is a light,
So as part of the TIA process, reviewed by both staff and DOT,
okay?
it was assumed certain number of trips are gonna actually generate and come in and out of that neighborhood behind us, or behind this development here. So yes, some
Okay.
number of trips to be generated will be done internally and going that way. And we have to kind of, assume, based upon the number of homes that are there, who would actually utilize that point as well. So yeah, so when they were distributing the trips, we based it upon who's gonna go left, who's gonna go right, where they're gonna go internally, and how's gonna be captured. So yeah, that's all examined during that process.
Can I make a comment to that?
Please.
I know this is question time, but I
Yeah.
want to make a comment to that. Or do I save my comment?
Maybe you should save your comment for the
Okay.
discussion. I'd like to just make sure everybody's asked Jeff
Sure.
any questions that they have.
Just one clarification, if I might.
Sure, yeah.
Whose regulation is it to open up the connection into the subdivision? Is that a county requirement, a state requirement,
Well,
the
the-
developer's requirement? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, well.
I'd just
the
like to
land-
understand
Land
that.
development manual requires
Okay,
streets and roads to have connectivity,
okay,
and that's a requirement. And then, of course, the developer in order to provide access and cross-access and everything
Mhm.
for the proposed development. They're of course building the road. But
Sure.
it is in the land development manual, because when you have an existing roadway, you have these stub outs and connections, for connectivity in the future.
Okay.
That's why it's there, but it is in the land development manual, I believe.
So it is the county and then in coordination with the developer.
And that's
Okay.
also discussed in the comp plan as well, right? Correct,
Yes.
Diane?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, Jeff.
all right. If there's no more questions, do we have a motion on the table?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to defer this to the next meeting. There are a number of things that are going on between the developer and the neighborhood, the developer and the county, and I understand what's in front of us. I just think it's a little premature. We've got a snapshot of what's happening within this small area, and I don't think we're looking at the bigger picture. Now, I understand what we're being asked to decide, but you also have a road at the other side of Homegrown Way that wraps around the east side of 49. There are too many questions in my mind, and I know we've discussed this, but my motion then would be to defer to next month, which is within the 30-day period.
All right, so there is a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up the point. Whenever you set up level of service through this intersection, it's not predictive. It's more given, and whatever the model, they do model of where they think, when people are gonna turn left. But that's predictive, okay? Level of service is what you see here. Left turn, how many left turn lanes you have, how many right turn lanes you have. If you have a right only out, right only in, everything is based on level of service through that intersection. So that's my concerns with this, that it's not lighted, and what John had brought up about the traffic down here, what it's gonna, so,
You're gonna have traffic backed up past that
yeah. And
intersection.
again, level of service is not, it's not a predictive thing, like, well, we think that this many cars are gonna go this way. It's not. It's what's shown is how they evaluate, how they should evaluate a TIA. Just a comment.
So what are you proposing as far as improvements?
That's my question as well. So what would you like to see? What additional information do you feel we need?
I know we don't normally ask for the TIA, but I would certainly like to be able to look at it, number one. Number two, I'd like a broader view of the area. I think the improvements to the main intersection are phenomenal. I'm just concerned that because of the amount of traffic that now could go through a very tight residential area, some of it doesn't have sidewalks, and if you take the time to drive through there, you'll see cars parked at the curb, sometimes across from each other. So I don't foresee a need for trucks to go all the way down there, but since we don't know yet what the Harris Teeter looks like, an 18-wheeler pulling in there to deliver or pick up at Harris Teeter, where are they gonna turn around and where are they gonna come out? Because you certainly don't want a tractor trailer trying to make a left-hand turn onto a major highway. So my question would be, the second part of the question would be, what else is in the area that, and could we look at what the assumptions are of how many trips per day would end up going through a residential area?
I have a question for you, Jeff. Is there anything else that's being discussed with the developer regarding any of these improvements? Like any any potential changes coming, or any additions, or,
You mean roadway improvements?
yeah, just in terms of all the TIA,
I don't know anything additional than, since the TIA was approved.
okay. All right.
Now, there was some mention in the TIA notes that there would be some medians put in, but I'm not sure on the picture where the medians would be, if there are any others proposed on 49. I see a
think it-
median at the entrance,
Yeah, I think there's a median that's going in the middle of 49
yeah,
that would help, help the left-hand turn, protect the left-hand turn lane.
is that
Both from going south and going north. So I understand right now there's just a small strip of concrete there, and I think the way I read this is that they're making them improve that median to what their standard is, which is typically like a 4-foot wide strip.
Do you know if that's,
That's correct. They're going to be, what they're currently there right now is probably about maybe 2 feet, right in front of
Yes.
7-Eleven.
right,
They're actually gonna make their developer make that 4 foot. And
Okay.
then extend that. I'm not sure if the 4 foot goes the entire way to where you can see where the median is added on that drawing right there. I think it goes 4 feet the entire way, for that curve. It'll be 4 feet.
good, so you're saying the median will be
From the current 7-Eleven,
to the left side of the left-hand turn lane? Is that what that illustration shows?
yes, I know,
It's a little hard to see, but
you can see that dark line.
this
Further on, yeah, right to there. Yep.
we don't know if it extends.
It will not go anything further than that, no. Because there'll be no turns beyond that, so that's what the last turn will be.
So you're saying the median here would also be required to be?
Yeah, so they will actually
Expanded.
expand that to 4 feet in front of 7-Eleven.
Yeah, because 7-Eleven basically right now goes.
Yeah, it just goes to them, just a very small curve.
Well, and there's a turn lane going that way.
Yep.
but- Yeah, okay. All right, so still have proposed the motion
Yeah,
to defer
there's a-
till next,
Correct, there's a motion,
next month. I'm
so,
sorry.
yeah, so there's a motion and a second. So, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
I'm just trying to figure out, we're making a motion to propose, but I'm not clear on what we're looking for in the 30 days. Still not clear on what we're looking for.
That's my question also. So what will happen 30 days from now that's not happening tonight?
We don't have the TIA, which I think we should review, because there are significant questions about the traffic flow. I
Okay.
understand it's SCDOT, but,
And staff
and staff,
has approved it.
So, I understand wanting to view the TIA, and I think that's not a problem to be able to get that to you.
Okay.
But I don't think it's within our scope for us to challenge staff and the DOT about it. Myself being an engineer, I would not question the DOT about a decision that they're making. They're making these, I feel like they're making these decisions consciously. They've had adequate time to review this TIA. They've probably gone back and forth and made changes from what was originally submitted. There may have been assumptions that were changed as well. But all of that information is stuff, I think that should be left in the hands of those that are best prepared to disseminate it and make those kinds of decisions, which I would leave it to staff and the DOT. I will say it, I am surprised to see the left-hand turn lane.
Yeah.
But, it has been, I think it's been vetted. I mean, that's what we need. And it's not just, something that was probably, not a short discussion. There was probably some longer discussion about it. Clearly to the point where, they made some changes to the median, or they're going to make some changes to the median. And I think that's, you know, that's their call. You know, I don't feel like we're in a position to challenge their authority on what's best for their roadways. So that's, you know,
I'm just, I don't disagree with you, I'm just looking at a common sense approach to it. And
And
there are really two issues at play here. One is the traffic patterns at the egress and the entrances.
okay,
The other one is the connectivity to a small residential, tight in terms of size of roadway, community.
and, I mean, I would say, you know, with the connectivity, that is something that we've mandated for a long time. I think if, you know, that development was consciously done with that road stubbed out to this property. It's not like they're going into the subdivision to make a connection that was never there or was never proposed. I think it, you know, it's been proposed the entire time. I mean, it, from probably, you know, well, obviously from their preliminary plat through to today. I think not having that connectivity would be more of a detriment because that would require more cars to go out onto 55, it would require more cars to go out onto 49 than that would normally go through that neighborhood. I just can't see us, we taking that away. We talk about connectivity so much and how we're trying to get cars off of the road. This is how we get cars off the road. We make this connection. This is how we do it. We don't do it by, you know, telling people to make less trips or anything like that. We do it by giving them options. And this is a very feasible option and something that is discussed in the comp plan. It's discussed in the land development manual. It's something that we've discussed on other issues before. So I don't feel like we're deviating from anything that we've said or done in the past to, you know, to have this. That's just my opinion. I'll say for the record, I'm not going to be able to support the deferral on this. I don't feel like there's there's no substantive matter or issue that I'm aware of that would require us to put this off another 30 days. You know, I can go down to planning tomorrow and sit there and look at the TIA. I understand it, but I'm not in a position to challenge it. That, you know, that's what they've hired people specifically to do that.
That's one part of it, and I don't completely disagree with your position.
Okay.
Can I ask Diane another question?
Yeah, feel free. No, plus this is the time.
If the issue were emergency access, and I'm not sure if it is or not, at the development end, the residential development, is there any reason that a gate couldn't be put on that property if the developer agreed to that?
No, because the way the code is written, and like you were talking about, the code requires connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to not have connectivity would be to have a waiver, and you don't have the standing or the authority to do a
Oh,
waiver.
I know.
So there's nothing that we could change. And so, and no, connectivity cannot be gated. You could gate a private drive. If Homegrown Way was a private road, they would have the option as a private road to do that. It's a
Okay.
public road, so no, they cannot put a gate there. And there's really nothing the planning commission, you know, could really change. The code requires the connectivity, and that has to be completed. Otherwise, you don't have the authority to be able to change that.
You mentioned waiver. I know we don't have the authority, but does the developer have the
The
authority to
developer has
request
the
a waiver?
authority to request a waiver, and they're not doing that.
Okay.
That's the only one that has authority for a waiver is the
Okay.
developer.
Similar situation, if we remember 6, 7 months ago, connectivity between West Liberty Hill Road and Daimler Boulevard, that the school district decided they didn't want that connectivity because,
That was a requirement of the PD,
right, well,
different requirement.
different requirement, but they're now putting in the same road with a gate,
On private property,
school property.
yes, and a driveway. It's a it's a different situation. It's not the same thing from here. This is a public road.
Okay.
Diane, regarding the connectivity, with that being a residential neighborhood, is there anything that staff could do that would prevent, say, like the delivery trucks from going through there?
I don't believe you can do like a non-through for this type of road, because now you're not having your Amazon delivery guy come into their house, and so, I just don't know that we could actually do that. That would not be realistic.
I understand. Okay. All right, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? No? All right, so we have a motion and a second to defer. All those in favor of the deferral, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All right, since that motion has failed, I will make a motion to approve the preliminary plat as presented. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, there's no other conditions?
Staff didn't recommend any conditions.
Correct. So my motion would be to approve the preliminary plat as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? All right, if not, all those in favor of the approval, raise your hand. All those opposed? The motion passes 4-2. All right, next item on the agenda is subdivision Newport Acres, the applicant's Progress Holdings LLC, tax map number 498-00-00-060, total acreage 11.01 acres, total lots 9, single-family lots, Council District 3. Mr. Atkins, the zoning is rural development RUD. Good morning, good evening, Marion.
Hello, Marion Ray, zoning planner. He is correct, it's Newport Acres tonight. It's just off of Adna Church Road there, just south of 161. It's an 11-acre parcel. It is wooded at this time. It does have a driveway that transects it, but that'll be taken care of with the construction of the road. There are no real major roadblocks to this one. There is a stream kind of in the northwest side of it, and you'll notice on the preliminary plat it has been addressed. So here's the preliminary plat. I zoomed in for you so it's a little clearer. Again, zoned RUD, 9 lots of at least 1 acre in size for 11 acres. The road there stubs out to the adjacent parcel. That adjacent parcel is actually part of Newport Commons PD. It's an older PD that we've had around, but that area of Newport Commons is supposed to be a single-family subdivision. I'll go through the findings here. It'll be serviced by private water and septic systems, and so also all lots meet or exceed the RUD 1 acre standard. Single family is an allowed use in RUD, and it has maximum density of 1 dwelling unit per acre. At 9 lots, it is 0.8 dwelling units per acre proposed. A TIA was not required for the division. It is only 9 lots. And then for adequate street connectivity, it's accessed from Adna Church, which is maintained by the SCDOT, and it's bound by Adna Church, large residential lots to the south, and then the other 2 sides are that PD. Sidewalks aren't required due to the lot widths of more than 100 feet or more, and it does stub out to the single-family section of that PD. RUD zoning does not require open space or buffers and was not provided. There we go. And a tree survey has been completed and approved by staff. So staff recommends approval of Newport Acres. Back to that.
So no open space or buffers, but there's tree save.
Correct.
Okay.
And tree save can be on private property. It's treated as an easement.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Marion?
Did you put up the vicinity map that had the other plats? Yeah, I was just trying to figure out which ones are part of the PD at this point.
Sure. This large parcel here is
Okay.
PD, this parcel is PD, and this
that
parcel is
parcel's
PD.
Okay,
These 2 down here are all these two are both RUD zoning,
Private.
single family.
Okay.
And the house that, you can see his driveway goes all the way around through here. He's gonna have access directly to that new cul-de-sac.
Okay. That was my question, if there was any connectivity between the cul-de-sac and the other.
Yeah. He's gonna have a much shorter driveway and then pavement.
It says relocate existing gravel drive, okay.
Yeah.
That was my only question.
Is there any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? And I just, again, add that, you know, talking about connectivity, and this is, you know, another instance where we're requiring them to go further. They probably, if they had their choice, they would have shortened the cul-de-sac to not build as much road, but the code requires them to go all the way, and that way, you know, it can be extended further in the future, so.
But that cul-de-sac could also provide future access to the other lots.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Unanimous. All right, next item is rezoning 24-28, Brian Buchanan applicant. Brian and Dorothy Buchanan owners requesting to rezone a 20.14 acre portion of a 221.84 acre parcel from RUD1 to RUD. The subject parcel is located on Ranger Road, Clover. The property is referenced as tax map number 180-00-00-015. It's in District 3, Mr. Atkins. Good evening.
Good evening,
Diane.
everybody.
Hello.
This is a request to rezone a 20.14 acre parcel. It's actually a portion of a 200 acre parcel from RUD1 to RUD. And the purpose here is to be able to remove the split zone status of the property to allow the creation of one 2 acre parcel. Property is located on the northwestern part of the county, just south of Kings Mountain State Park, along Highway 55 and Ranger Road. This area here is relatively rural, but there are some small developments along Ranger Road, 1 acre tracts, but majority of the area here is very large tracts of land. Zooming into the property here, the parcel has an existing home, a couple of ponds, agricultural uses, and so, but this area of the property is actually zoned RUD1, and they want to be able to do a recombination over here, but we have split zones. As you can see from here, the areas that are actually RUD1 is of the hatched part here, the rest of it is RUD. This was rezoned 2 years ago, probably maybe 10 years by now. All this area here was rezoned to RUD1 for the plan to kind of, I guess, create some more lots through here. Then that didn't happen. This guy purchased the property. Now he wants to create one more lot. And he can't do that because we're split zoned. The comprehensive plan for the area here is rural residential. As we know, that's areas with rural character, with large homes on properties that are 1 acre or more, separated by farms, pastures, and forests. We're recommending approval. This request aligns with the future land use map, the comprehensive plan. It'll remove the split zone status of the current parcel, the subject parcel. The majority of the property already is RUD, and there's a very small difference between RUD and RUD1. Any questions for staff?
Anyone have questions? If no one has any questions, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
If not, all those in favor of the motion to approve? Anyone opposed? It is unanimous. And on to the rezoning. Did staff ever come up with the policy on rezonings when they're, that drag on?
Yes, there is a policy for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 6 months?
Yes, 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. If there are no other items, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.